Hey guys, welcome to math. Today we're talking about multiplying 2-digit by 2-digit numbers. And we've done that a little bit, like 24 times 10. We've looked at problems like that, where you look at it and you think, okay, well I know what 24 times 1 is. It's 24. But I'm talking about 24 tens. So you just add that 0 over here. So we've talked about that a little bit. Or if you see some zeros, you just cover them up and then you add them at the end. Because we're talking about 24, not ones, but tens, 24 tens, 240. But what about a problem like this? We haven't really talked about this. What if we see 24 times 12? How are we going to solve that? That sounds a little harder. Well, 24 times 12 is 24 times 10 plus 24 times 2. So 12 is 10 and 2. So we can break it up. In multiplication, you're always breaking up harder problems and finding a few easier problems to find the answer. And you do that again here. So I know 24 times 10, we just solved it, and we had 24 times 2. And there's actually a way to line that up like this. And this is what you're going to be learning about today. And it's super helpful, but it's also dangerous like a shark. And it's dangerous like a shark because kids will often line things up in these kind of wacky ways and then add them up and get these crazy answers. So that's why you want to always estimate. So before we found out what 24 times 10 was, which was 240, so our answer should be around 240. So if we get like 2 million, we're like, that's not right. Okay, so here's the way we do it. First, we're going to multiply the 24 times the 2 part, which is right here. So we line it up just right. Spot for our ones, spot for our tens, and spot for hundreds. Always do one extra one in case it spills over. Okay, so now we can just solve for the 2's. 2, so we're going to multiply 2 times 4 and then times 2. So we're going to do 2 times the 1, 2 times the 10s. So we have 2 times 4, which is 8. 2, now we're going to go to the tens. How many tens do we have? Well, 2 times 2 is 4. We have 4 tens. So this part here, the 48, we just solved 2 times 24. Hooray, we're halfway done. Actually, we're just a third of the way done because we need to add them all up at the end. So we just figured out what 24 times 2 is. But now we need to find out what 10 times 24 is because we have to multiply the 10 times the whole number too. So now we switch over to the tens. And notice how the tens, are we talking about ones now? No, we're not. So I just put a 0 there just so we know we're not talking about ones anymore. Now we're talking about tens because the first answer will go right in here. So we go 110 times 4, tens times the ones. How many tens do we have? Well, 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. It goes over here because tens times tens are hundreds. And then we add them up. So we just figured out 240. That's the answer of 24 times 10, which we already solved up here, right? So that makes sense. Now we can add them together. And just a quick recap, when we did this one, we said, well, okay, we're not talking about ones, so we skip right to the 10 spot. That's why we put a 0. 10 times the ones, 1 times 4 is 4, 1 times 2 is 2, and just in the next spot over. Add them up. Okay, well, 8 plus 0 is 8, 4 plus 4 is 8, 2 plus 0 plus nothing is 2, 288. We just solved it. 288. So that wasn't that hard because no answers spilled over to the other side. That's how you do it. Let's do another one that's going to be a little bit more challenging because we might have some answers spilling over. Okay? Let's try a big one like let's say let's say 45 times 17. So first let's get our estimate so we know about what it's going to be. What do we think it's going to be about? Well, I'm just going to round these. I'm going to say 45 is about 50. 17 is about 20. So I'm just kind of rounding. The 45 is closer to 50 than 40. 17 is closer to 20 than 10. So I'm going to just round them to those, and then we'll get our estimate. So 50 times 20, what's that? Well, remember we can just cover up the zeros. So 5 times 2 is 10. And now, but we're not just talking about 5 times 2 ones, we're talking about 5 tens times 2 tens. So those zeros have to go over here too. But that's kind of the cool trick, is you can just cover up the zeros, reveal, just 5 times 2, that's easy, that's 10. But don't forget about these zeros, they need to go over there too. So it's going to be about 1,000. That's my estimate. Now let's figure out how much it actually is. And that way if I get 400,000, I know for a fact I'm off. Okay, let's line it up. So 45 times 17. Notice how I lined them up just perfectly, ones with ones, tens with tens. And I'm going to give myself a spot for my ones, spot for my tens, and it might spill over to hundreds, so a spot for my hundreds. So first I need to figure out, just like last time, we need to figure out what 7 times 45 is, and then what 10 times 45 is, because 17 is 10 and 7. So we need to multiply 45 by 10, and then add what 45 times 7 is. So when you do it like this, you do the ones first. That's just how it works. You always go from this side to that side. So what's 7 times 5? So first we're going to find out the answer of what's 7 times 45. So what's 7 times 5? What's where the 1 times the 1s? 7 times 5 is 35. We've talked about it. Do we squeeze in 35 like that? No, we don't. The first number has to spill over. So we can, 35 is 3 10s and 5 1s. We can squeeze the 1s in the 1 spot, but the 10s go in the 10 spot. 35. Sometimes I'll hear kids want to put like the 30 in the 1 spot, but think about it. Is 35, is 30 the 1s or is that the 10s? It's the 10s. 5's the 1s. So it separates like that. 30 up in the 10s, 5 in the 1s. Now let's multiply 7 times 4. Multiply 7 times 10s. What's 7 times 4? 28. That's what 7 times 4 is, 28. And then add the 3. Because we have 3 up in the attic, you have to add that too. Don't forget about it. 28 plus 3, 28, 29, 30, 31. So, do I squeeze in 31 right here? Nope. 1 goes there, 3 goes there, 31. 31 tens. We just figured out half the problem, 7 times 45. Now, we're going to move on to the next part. 10 times 45, that's the other part, right? 10 times 45. So let's go 10 to the 10 spot. Oh wait, are we talking about ones anymore? No, we're not, Daniel. We already solved all the ones. We don't need to do anything here. So we put a 0 there because we're not talking about ones anymore. We're talking about tens. Okay, 10. Here we go. So we're in the 10 spot. So we need to solve, how many tens do we have? Okay, so 1 times 5. What's 1 times 5? 5. 1 times 4. What's 1 times 4? 4. Wait, do I add that 3? I don't. That 3 was left over from last time. I should have crossed it out. So cross out anything left over, cross them out or erase them or something. Okay, let's do that again. 1 times 5 is 5 for the 10 spot. And now we're going to multiply the tens with each other. 1 times 4 is 4. 400s. And it makes sense because tens times tens equal hundreds. That's why we're going all the way over the 100 spot. Now we can just add them up. So we just figured out what 10 times 45 is. Now we can add them up. Okay, 5 plus 0 is 5, 1 plus 5 is 6, 3 plus 4 is 7, 765. We just figured it out, which is pretty close to 1,000. It's not so off that I question myself. 765. We got it. So today, you guys, you're going to be looking at these pages, 82 and 83. So for this one, they want you to estimate this problem. And I just recommend just do it a simple way. Just say, okay, 64 is close to 60, 57 is close to 60. What's 60 times 60? Well, what's 6 times 6? And then add the 2 zeros over there. And then they want you to try to figure out this problem, just like I did. And they give you little spots up here for like the money in the attic, like I say, you know. So like 7 times 4 is 28. So the 2 is going to go up here. And then cross it out the next time. 7 times 4 is 42, plus 2 is 44. I just gave you a head start. And then 5, now we're going to go the 50 times 64. Are we talking about ones anymore? No. So get rid of the 1 spot, put a 0 there, and move right onto the 10 spot. What's 5 times 4? And also cross out the old one. And if this, you can try this. If it seems too confusing, just try it again right next to it and do your own spots. Sometimes they try to be overly helpful and it makes it confusing. But yeah, please do number 1. Number 2, they give you this number. How did they get 8,000? What did they round these numbers to? Well, I'm guessing there's an 8 involved and a 10 involved to get 80. And I'm guessing for this one, there's a 9 involved and an 8 involved to get 72. And then figure out the problem. This one you got to just estimate and then find out what your estimation is. I'd probably just go 50 times 60. See which one's the closest. And then with this last one, number 4, please do those too. Get an estimation and then an answer. Estimation, answer. With this last one, you can do 3 of them. You can skip one. So choose which one you want to skip. And that's what we're doing, pages 82 and 83. You can do it.